Welcome to Chicago. Now, look, we're matching almost. Like, who knew?
And I switched spots. This is weird, guys. This is like brushing your teeth with like the other hand. I don't know if you've ever tried that. It's really scary.
Like switching the seat.
I'm over here for the first time ever.
It's good to see
This is your hour, Tia.
Yeah,
I miss you.
But we used to be together all the time.
All the time, working nights.
Yes, working
And now
nights.
we only see each other
in passing.
Really. We're like
You're
ships
leaving,
passing in the night. Because I'm up early, and you work till when, typically?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock at night.
Smooth
this
schedule.
Is good. This is a reunion for us.
It is a reunion, and we got a lot to talk about on today's show. Really exciting stuff. We're going to talk about the Englewood Music Festival, which I told you I went to last year. It was a really good time, really good music, really good people. So we're going to talk about that. We're also talking about Lake Michigan, things that happen really in Chicago's neighborhoods. But Lake Michigan, obviously part of that. Rings have been lost in Lake Michigan. Also talking about a car-free takeover in Wicker Park. Block Club Chicago will be joining us to talk about that.
I always love talking to John Hanson. He's one of the editors over there at Block Club Chicago to dive into the Chicago neighborhoods. Chicago is a city of neighborhoods, yes. And they're going to do a deep dive because you're right. There's engagement rings and things like valuable stuff that have been found at the bottom of the lake. Did you hear about what's been found at the bottom of the Chicago River yet?
I just can't believe it. I want to know the backstory to every single car.
If you missed Good Day Chicago,
I saw it earlier.
Tia alluded to this. They were looking for a certain car that was involved in a cold case from like the 1970s. A couple, they were at the Sheraton Hotel, which used to be located on Michigan Avenue. They are believed to have gone inebriated into the river in their car. An older couple too. It's actually really sad because they were trying to get back to Arlington Heights, disappeared completely. So they were looking for their car on the riverbed. This crew found 97 cars on the bottom of the Chicago River. Actually, we just spoke.
I know, we
had a segment. We didn't have time to ask him about that, but I'm curious if those have become fish habitats too.
And
those old, those old cars.
What's going on? Like, what's the story behind it? I can't wait to find out.
97 cars on the bottom of the Chicago River. I think, guys, we're going to need to do a segment on those 97 cars.
Absolutely.
That could be a full documentary series.
Really could be.
Okay, before we get to all that, we have a very special guest joining us via Zoom to kick off the show. Golf isn't just for the pros anymore.
It's not.
It is going social. All right, Mountain Dew and Good Golf, they are teaming up for a first-of-its-kind tournament, bringing creators, celebrities, and fans all together.
Celebrity.
I would love to participate in this. I do get out on the links once or twice a year.
I like to golf, too.
I'm not a pro by any means, but I love getting out there. It's such fun to get outside.
And it's beautiful, oftentimes.
Golf courses are always beautiful. Anyway, this is happening at Kemper Lakes Golf Club in Kildeer. From bracket-style matches to fan competitions and even a live country concert, this is not your typical golf tournament. Okay, so joining us to tell us all about it, Mr. Matt Kendrick, founder and CEO of Good Golf. Where are you joining us from today, sir? It is absolutely beautiful.
I'm right here at Kemper Lakes, getting ready for the event. I mean, it's actually already going. We got tons of people out here hanging out and having fun. So excited to be joining you all this morning.
Okay, when I think of a golf tournament, I think of the pros. They're matched up with someone else. There's quiet clapping and everything like that. This is a really different kind of tournament. First event, I want you to run us through what it is. King of the Mountain. What is this all about?
We partnered up with Mountain Dew and couldn't ask for a better partner to figure out how do we bring more entertainment to the sport and get people outside and connecting with each other. And so this is really an all-day cultural moment. It's not just a tournament, I would say. So like we're going to be out here all day. As far as the bracket challenge goes, we're doing something pretty unique and partnering up one of our guys from Good with another woman golf influencer. So it's two-person teams, and they're going to play scramble format in a match play. And the last one standing is the King of the Mountain today.
You know, Matt, when I think of golf, I actually used to cover golf when I was in college for a little bit.
Wow.
And it makes me think of who I would see out there on that golf course. And oftentimes it was an older age bracket, it would be older people out there. But we're starting to see a lot of these sports kind of, intertwine with a young population, like the US Open, for example. You've seen a lot of young people, a lot of young influencers show up there. Why is it so important, you think, to get young people involved in golf in this way that you're doing?
I think golf is just a really great connecting sport across generations. So I think what you see is you get fathers and sons or mothers and daughters playing together, and it's very connecting. And And so I think for us, we try to make it as entertaining as possible. And we try not to take it too serious, but we're also very family friendly. And so I think that that's what makes it even better, that we can bring a lot of different age groups together and can enjoy what we have going on. So but number one for us is we want to be extremely entertaining and have fun. And people see that we're having fun. That's what we want.
Matt, I want to talk about the partnership now. Everyone knows Mountain Dew, but for those who are unfamiliar with Good Golf, what is Good Golf all about?
Good Golf is about content and driving entertainment on the golf course. That's what we're about. That's where we started on YouTube, and that's what's made us so successful. Is we've had such great fans along the way that have been able to join us in our journey, and then we get today, just like today, where we partner with Mountain Dew on this great event. We have tons of people here hanging out, having a fun time. So. But yeah, that's what it's all about for us. It's all about the content, and then also we have some great products. Which we were lucky enough to do a collab merch drop with Mountain Dew on this event, and so that's another big piece of what we do at Good.
Let me ask you this. You know, oftentimes when you go to a golf tournament of sorts, you can watch. You don't necessarily have to play. Is this a situation where you expect to have spectators out there on the green?
Oh yeah, we're going to have well over 2,000 people out here today. And it's going to be packed, and since it's a very small field, you're going to see a lot of people, around the groups there, which is fun. It's different than you see at a normal golf tournament where you got groups all over the golf course. It's a very concentrated group, so it's going to look really awesome seeing it on TV tonight.
What's the vibe like out there? We mentioned all the different kind of parties you're bringing together. It's not just golfers. You got content creators, right? You got celebrities. You got fans. So this sounds like it is not your typical, 3-day tournament with all pros where you got like the soft golf claps going.
Yeah, it's definitely not that. It's much more fast paced. And we're also, you're going to notice that it's much more engaging from an entertainment standpoint. Because like I said, we're not trying to say we have the best golfers on the planet that play in this, but we do think we have the most entertaining golfers on the planet. So I think that that's what you're going to see the big difference of, and it's more than just golf. It is really a party out here. We've got a great concert tonight with Corey Kent as well after the golf. So it's going to look and feel very different than what you see on a normal weekend on the Golf Channel.
When I think about traditional golf, there's a purse. So Matt, is there a purse involved in all of this, and how much money are we talking?
Yeah. We've got a $100,000 purse, and so there is some high stakes on this. But we're also giving $50,000 to charity today too. So that's another big piece of it. We're working with Jack and Barbara Nicholas on their Play Yellow Foundation, and so we'll be giving $50,000 to them as well.
I can't help but think about Happy Gilmore 2 as you're talking about how this is a new kind of tournament. Does that ring a bell at all? Did you see the movie?
Oh, yeah, I've seen the movie. Yeah, I thought it was great, and I could. It's definitely. This is definitely a new kind of tournament for sure.
All right. I want to talk about some of the other activities while we have you on the line. We got a long drive, a chip shot challenge, and then there's a Mountain Dew sampling. Take us through how these all work. The long drive probably is pretty self-explanatory, but what's like the chip shot challenge here?
The chip shot challenge is they're chipping into like a kind of like playing cornhole. Think of it that way. That's like the same kind of concept as what the chip shot challenge is. But the long drive right now has got a massive line of people lined up right now, ready to hit long drive, and we do have some professional long drivers coming out, which is going to be really cool to see. Because if you've never seen something like that in person, it's pretty unbelievable to watch those guys hit those golf balls.
How many yards are we talking for those professional long drivers? How many yards can they hit it?
I mean, they can get it over 400 for sure. I mean, you're talking guys with 220-mile-per-hour ball speed.
Whoa.
And if you were to look at a normal pro, you're looking probably around like 180-mile-per-hour ball speed. So to give some comparison there from what you see from the PGA Tour.
Matt, let me ask you, what made you start this? Were you just someone that really loved the sport, or were you a businessman and you just saw an opportunity? What made you start this to begin with?
I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, but golf has always been something that I've loved more than any other hobby that I've had. And I think that I was in the right place at the right time with guys like Garrett Clark and Matt Sharp and Steven Casaneda, who founded this with me. And, we just said, let's go build one of the coolest golf companies in the world. And I think that we just happen to have the right team, and we've been very lucky and blessed to do it. And so, yeah, it's been one of the funnest rides ever, and it's been really quick, and that's also it's been really fun to watch and see.
That's really cool. All right, Matt, before we let you go, sir, got to ask you this. I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your favorite, what event of the week, of the tournament, are you personally looking forward to the most?
That's a good one. I am really looking forward to the competition, to the actual match play, because I think it's going to be really fun, and I think you're going to see a lot of people getting pretty serious and pretty focused, and I think you're going to see a very competitive afternoon. But I'm actually really excited to go over and watch the long drive, and I didn't realize how many people were signed up, ready to go try and hit some golf balls. So I'm ready to go see some fans hit some shots as well.
Let me ask you something, because like you said, this isn't like everybody isn't an expert out there. What is the craziest thing that you've seen since you've been doing this?
Well, I would say our most viral moment is the hole-in-one on par 4, and we've had 2 of those actually. So seeing those has been pretty unreal, and we've and to catch it on camera is even better.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to be Googling that. All right.
It's definitely
Matt, thank you so much. Have an awesome time out there, sir.
You got to invite this celebrity next year.
I kind of want to do the long
Call
drive.
up Anthony Ponce next year.
Hey, you and I could pair up on a scramble.
That would be fun.
Have you ever done a scramble?
I haven't.
Okay. There's so much more comfort in that. Thank you so much, Matt. Because you could just team up with your team and you do the best ball.
Okay.
So you don't need to like hit it. It's way better for us amateurs than like the pressure's a little.
Trying to say I'm an amateur too? I am. You're right.
Hey,
I'm an amateur.
Maybe we need to get out there together.
We need to get out there more. All right. So coming up, we're going to be talking with John
Hanson. Everybody, we're going to be exactly after a quick 2-minute break. Oh my gosh, your wedding ring falls into Lake Michigan.
And then somebody finds it.
Have no fear. We're going to talk about how folks are reuniting with their lost metal objects when we come back.
We'll be right back. Back to Chicago now. This is something I don't ever want to have to deal with, is my wedding ring falling into Lake Michigan. I don't even know what I would be able to say to my husband about that, but it actually happened to someone.
Is yours on fairly securely?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Yeah, mine I feel like has become tighter and tighter over the years. I don't know what that says. Maybe I'm eating too much salt.
It could be a whole lot of reasons.
Things not going anywhere.
We grow as we get older. Let's talk to John Hanson with Block Club Chicago. You actually are talking to us about that. Actually happened to someone. Their wedding ring fell into Lake Michigan, and there's a scuba diver who goes in to retrieve these things. Tell us about it.
Well, first and foremost, as you guys started talking, I started feeling my ring finger and realized I'm not wearing mine.
Uh-oh.
You better go get it.
I just took a shower before coming on, and I realized I didn't put it on before going on TV. So that's going to get me in a little trouble.
What's up with that? Why do men take off their rings?
Hey, listen, sometimes before exercising, I do, because it'll dig it. John, do you ever get this where it digs into your... Tia, if you're ever
never take it off.
When I'm putting up 300 pounds in the bench press, I don't want a wedding ring getting in the way.
Please, you guys.
That doesn't get in your way? Okay.
No.
Other topic.
Anyways,
it's good to see you, by the way. It's really good to see you.
Always good to see you, John.
Yeah, you guys too. We're talking about this folk hero, basically, on the north side of Chicago, who has gone in for wedding rings, went in for Anthony Rizzo's World Series ring.
Wow.
His name is Yohei Yamada is his name. He was originally born in Japan, moved to Chicago eventually, was this great swimmer who eventually flunked out of college, but found this kind of second career helping rescue people and now rescue a lot of things. He makes a living doing this in a boat with no name, Mac Lederman wrote, and he goes in and finds stuff. He's found car keys, he's found cell phones, which he say will last 3 days at the bottom of Lake Michigan, and he just finds, and he says there's no way I'm not finding something. He is still looking for a $40,000 bracelet that someone lost and still is all after it. But he's a really interesting character, as a lot of folks are that live essentially on the water. He goes to the Bahamas with his boat in the winter and comes back up in the spring, summer. But, you know, whether it's the Playpen, up and down the Belmont Harbor, to all these places, people are always dropping stuff in the lake. And through word of mouth, he's basically become the guy that everyone knows will go fish it out for you.
I've got so many questions. Yeah. Do you want to go? Go ahead. Ladies first.
Okay, I got to know, how much is he charging people to go retrieve their things?
Yeah, it's usually just $100 to go get a phone or something along those lines. Sometimes they tip a little bit more, right? But for a phone that's going to still work, that's worth $100 to go down and fish out. And he says those are easy to find. The phones are easy. The rings obviously are smaller, harder to get. The bracelets, stuff like that, that can kind of get down in the muck down there. It depends on how long it's been in there. But he loves it. He just feels really calm in the water. He says his favorite place to be is underwater doing what he does. And it just seems to work for him. A scuba diver for hire, essentially. I love the Rizzo story. He said that Rizzo had lost a little weight and was enjoying some time on the lake, and the ring just flew off. World Series ring went down and found that thing, and plenty of other things too.
He found it?
What's that?
He found it.
Yeah, he finds everything. That's a really cool story. He's really had an interesting upbringing and why he likes to do this sort of stuff. He's always kind of worked these knick-knack jobs. He spent some time helping Chicago fire departments find people, rescue people. He's also pulled up, unfortunately, people that have passed away in the lake. Yeah, so he is just very at home with finding things, and he says he gets a lot of joy out of people doing it. And he, like a lot of us, he likes the challenge, right, of trying to find these
it really sounds like a labor of love. I didn't, because I was curious about the pricing structure too. It's like, you know how like sometimes when you hire a lawyer or someone who's going to appeal your property taxes or something, they're basically like, all right, we will only charge you if we find it, but you know there's an hourly thing, you know, there's different pricing structure. John, it really sounds like this guy does it as a labor of love.
He does. I mean, he's going to get paid for it if he finds it. And he says he's basically found every single thing that someone has requested. Yeah, I don't know exactly if he comes up and he comes up empty. I don't think you have to pay him for his time. I'll have to dig in with our reporter, Mac, to find out exactly how it works. He did the reporting on this story. But yeah, I don't. He doesn't charge an hourly rate. He just goes down there, tries to find it, takes some cash tips, and continues and goes on to the next person. And look, we've all seen how many boaters are out there, maybe having a cocktail or two. There's no shortage of things at the bottom of the lake that people need.
And you got to respect Anthony Rizzo for wearing that ring out on the water. The pride. You know, a lot of players would probably be like, you know what, I'm going to leave this thing on my dresser while I go on. Rizzo's like, no, we're wearing it.
I worked for this. Yeah. I got a follow-up question, and then we'll move on. Is he using any technology? To get this stuff?
I mean, for the most part, no. He goes down there with his hands and he looks, and he's got, you know, some lights sometimes to help accompany him if need be, like a lot of scuba divers do. A lot of tools to perhaps dig and siphon around. But as far as I know, he doesn't have like a metal detecting device. And maybe that's in his tool chest for certain big projects. But I think for the most part, especially if it's like a lot of times it's like simply he's there and someone goes, hey, come on over here. I just lost this. Or this guy over here, I heard just lost his car keys and he's not going to be able to drive away. So it kind of happens in the instant, which makes it a lot easier to find.
Yohei Yamada. Okay, can't wait to read that story. All right, next up. So I guess if you were driving in Wicker Park this past Sunday, you weren't driving on Milwaukee Avenue. I know this is like a pilot program. John, I believe you and I spoke about this on air before it happened. It was called Meet Me on Milwaukee. Kind of an experiment. Run us through what the idea was here and how it all went off.
Yeah, pedestrian malls have long been what a lot of neighbors want in busy communities, especially in Wicker Park. So the alderperson, instead of saying, well, yeah, let's close down the street for a long time, let's just do it on a couple different Sundays. Let's get some of the businesses to bring their, maybe the books from the Myopic Books outside, to bring some of the retail they have onto the sidewalk. And here's a picture from Quinn Myers, who reported on this. Look how packed it was on Sunday. Now, it was gorgeous weather, and you could still bike on the street. That was still allowed, but no buses and no cars. And for the most part, everyone that Quinn talked to loved it. Now, some people loved it as an experiment, and hey, maybe this is something we can do once a Sunday, right? Like similar to a street fest. But Quinn talked to people that say this is the way forward. We should eliminate cars through this incredibly busy stretch of traffic. And I think that's really where the interesting debate will come in, right? Are pedestrian malls, which have been tried in Chicago, famously on State Street for decades. They tried to make State Street into a pedestrian mall. Now they do it every couple Sundays or so. But it was a spectacular failure in the 70s and 80s and beyond. Also like around Wrigley Field, a lot of people want to see maybe Clark or Addison turned into pedestrian only. So I think this is a compromised way to try and see how it works, see if it is something that maybe could come back every now and then. But I don't think we're anywhere close to closing the roads, specifically this one, permanently anytime soon.
Well, yeah, I've gone in that area of Milwaukee Avenue, and you try to find a parking spot to even run into a location. Yeah, it's really awful. So I'm curious what the businesses would say. Did we get any feedback from the businesses on this, and did they see more foot traffic, no pun intended, than normal?
Yeah, no, they said for a Sunday, this typical kind of Sunday was way more than they would normally experience. Now, again, it was like a circled date on the calendar, and I know a lot of, pedestrian advocates. I mean, we're all pedestrian advocates, but you know what I mean? People that are really transit focused on cycling and using public transportation, they made a point to come out. So I think what'll be interesting is they're going to do another one in September. They're going to do another one in October. The businesses all seem happy. Everyone seem happy. Are we going to see that return of traffic on the next two? Is this something next year that we go to more? But yeah, Quinn talked to all these businesses, to your point, and they all said, yeah, this was great. This was awesome to try. In Lincoln Square earlier this year, there was some construction which knocked out a road, and they did this on a more permanent basis, right? They did this for like a couple weeks because the road had to be closed anyways. And it was a mixed bag. Some businesses thought it went really well, like places that you just would walk up to. Coffee shops loved it. The liquor stores loved it. People just walked on up, grabbed their things, and go. For some of the places like Timeless Toys, that's a great place up in Lincoln Square, where people drive to come there, like destination places, they saw a decrease because their normal customers were like, oh, I'm not going to have anywhere to park and load stuff up. So I think that if you try this longer, maybe you're going to see a little bit more dissent in some of the businesses. Because look, we are still, I know we have, pretty good public transportation through all its faults, but we're still a car city, guys. I mean, like, people still drive in this city a lot, and people still like to park, parallel park if they have to. I want to see you parallel park, Anthony, too. I love parallel parking contests. I could win, I think, every single one of them. But
nice. I like the confidence.
Yeah, I know. I'm like George Costanza. I would take a lot of pride in being able to find parking spots. But point being, we're still a driving city, so I don't know what could happen as we do this more long term. We'll have to see.
I have to turn down my music when I parallel park.
I'm to be so confident. John, I used to be so confident, like you, and I'd brag to my friends. I'd be like, okay, now watch this. I messed up one time. This is back when I was driving a stick, and I had it in first instead of reverse, and I hit the car in front of me. And ever since then, John, I have been the most humble parallel parker. I have shut my mouth because karma got me.
So you just
let me tell you, I used to be really good at it, and with like an older car that didn't have the backup window or the camera, right? I was fine. It was all instincts, right?
All instincts.
You do it. Now I have the camera in back, and I'm so used to it. I went back to my old car, tried to parallel park without the camera. We're getting too complacent.
Man, you're relying on the new technology now. All right, we're going to move on to another story. This one was fascinating. Okay. In West Ridge, Alderman Andre Vasquez has rejected a proposed dispensary operated by former Chicago police officers. Tell us the dynamics at play here. I'm having trouble kind of making sense out of, like, potential conflicts of interest. I haven't thought it through. Give us the implications here.
It's fascinating because we have long reported, you guys have done great reporting on this too, that since cannabis became legalized, most of the dispensary owners are white, right? White, wealthy Americans. The city and the state are trying to get more minority-owned businesses and dispensaries to move in. Well, guess what? This company's actually staffed 85% by Black Chicagoans. But they are former police officers, which is rubbing some people in the community wrong. And here's why. The argument from some opponents of a police officer-led organization opening a dispensary is police officers, through their jobs, they were just doing their jobs, were arresting people for this very thing 10 years ago. Those people that got arrested no longer can get a license to do it legally. They can't even work in dispensaries. So until that's solved, why would you let former police officers open up one even though they were arresting people? Now, again, a lot of people say, look, they were just doing their job. That's what they do. Now they're business owners and they want to do this. And they actually say, these owners say, look, we're bringing a unique perspective to this. A lot of us are Black and we're trying to be part of this minority growth of selling cannabis legally. But some neighbors are like, no, come on. I mean, they were putting people away for this. So I find that dynamic to be really interesting.
I do find it to be interesting. I don't want to get in trouble here, but I also think from the perspective of, in some cases, there are things that you do on the job that you just have to do as part of the job. So in some cases, maybe they were just following the job when they had to make some of these arrests. We don't know.
And the laws have changed
at the time.
Since then.
Yeah, at the time.
So it sounds like, John, based on what you said, it sounds like Alderman Vasquez rejected them not out of some kind of law per se that's on the books, but on principle.
Yes, and he took a lot of feedback, and they had a community meeting, and some neighbors were swayed by the former police officer's arguments. They were making a lot of the same points you were making, Tia, and I think that's a valuable point, right? We were doing our jobs. In fact, one of the officers, as part of the ownership group, has a child who is still in prison for marijuana possession.
Really?
So very personal to these police officers, and that's what some of them are trying to say. Like, we're going to bring a new perspective to this, and we're going to do things in a way that shows perhaps that there is a new face to what dispensary ownership can be. And to the other person's credit, Alderman Vasquez, he said, look, they were doing their jobs. He's not making a value judgment about whether they should have arrested people or not. They were following orders. But when you get a lot of people at these community meetings, right, and that's where people need to show up. If there's one lesson from all this, always be going to your community meetings and have the voice. Your voice is amplified when you are at a community meeting, because most people don't go to these things. And he heard from enough people, and he's putting the pause on it.
I do think, I didn't mean to interject there, but I do think that we do need to have a conversation at some point, though, about the fact, and not saying, you know, this is on your shoulders, but about the fact, because we have heard that a lot of the owners of the dispensaries are not black. Meanwhile, most black or brown, for that fact, and most people that were impacted by that specific crime, were brown and black people. And so how is it that they reap no benefit from having these dispensaries in some cases in their own communities? And so I do think there's a larger question of how is that being allowed, and who's approving these dispensaries to set up shop without making sure that that is considered in all of this?
Well, not only that, people that were arrested for it, they cannot open dispensaries. They can't even work in dispensaries now. So the people that were directly put in jail for this, for doing something that now is completely legal, can't even participate in the process. So there's been some strides made by the governor and the mayor, and a couple mayors now, to try and amp this up a little bit, to move this along. And that's why I think some neighbors are upset that they're not going to allow this dispensary to be open, because here you have a minority owned company that's trying to do it.
Fascinating stories, all on Block Club Chicago. John Hanson, editor, thank you very much for running us through that. Appreciate it.
I got to get my wedding ring on ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. Go get it on so you don't get in trouble. All right. Good to see you.
It's good to talk to him.
Oh my gosh, I love having John.
Such a bright light in this world.
Absolutely.
Okay, so something else that's bright and brings a lot of lights.
You went to this thing last year.
Yes, it was so much fun, I tell you.
We're talking about the Englewood Music Festival. Yes. It's happening, what, in about a week? A little bit over a week. And guess what? Caitlin says the weather is going to kick back up into the high 70s. So, hey, it may be fall, it may be a little bit cooler outside, but we are not done with festival season. We're going to preview live with some very special guests the Englewood Music Festival when we come back. Stay with us.
All right, welcome back to Chicago Now. We are with Alderwoman Stephanie Coleman, who is over the Englewood Music Festival that happens right in your actual ward. Yes. It's a really good time. I went last year, like I told you. It was right where my old house used to be, right in that area. That's where I grew up. It's no longer there. Yeah, so let's talk about it. It was a good time. What's going to be different this year?
We are going to exemplify Englewood excellence for the 5th year. I'm so excited. What's really different this year is we'll be giving a car away, thanks to E&R Towing, which is so exciting, to celebrate culture, to celebrate family, to celebrate arts, but to celebrate that Englewood is home. Englewood will always be home, and we truly are the heart of the city of Chicago.
Excellence of Englewood. What does that mean to you? What does that phrase mean to you, Alderwoman?
That means the community that we grew up in is still resilient, and no matter what we do, we get back up in the morning and we exemplify excellence. And that is what we're going to show thousands on next Saturday.
So we're looking at it right there. This is the flyer that has been circulated across the community. Tell us about some of these stars that are going to show up and hit the stage. Grammy
Award-winning Leandria Johnson, one of the best gospel artists in this side of heaven. We have the group RL next, you know, Will You Be My Wifey?
Yes.
And
Will You Be My wifey. Yes, I'll be your wifey.
You better sing.
Man.
Uh-oh.
Special guest Tia.
Special guest.
That's one of my songs.
And we're going to end it out with one of the funniest, most talented Mr. Wipe Me Down himself, Bootsy.
Who's always like stirring some stuff up on
Always. So appropriate for Englewood.
Wipe me down.
Yes.
So this is your 5 for you guys?
Number 5.
Number 5. How does this come together? Like, as soon as this happens, are you already planning for 6? Or like, what kinds of planning goes into each festival each year?
Lots of planning, lots of prayer, and a whole lot of work.
I know it's music involved, but there's a lot of food and vendors and stuff
That was
too.
my
Talk
next
about that
question.
part.
Absolutely. In addition to highlighting some of the best restaurants in Chicago on the south side and west side and south suburbs, we'll also have an actual arts village thanks to the Englewood's Arts Collective, who's been our partner since year 1. Shout out to Janelle and Tonika Johnson. We love you, EAC. As well as a health village, a senior village. It's literally something from the baby to the baby boomer for everyone to do.
So we're talking family-friendly stuff. I mean, something for everybody there?
Everyone.
I love it. All right.
You look good, by the way.
Give us
In
an
that
idea.
yellow.
I want to dive a little deeper into the food options. You said you're pulling some of Chicago's best restaurants from the south suburbs as well. Who's going to be on site?
We've got Harold's. We've got, oh goodness, we have, wait, can we just stop at Harold's, right?
Done.
Harold's.
We're there.
Do you like your car with mild sauce and lemon pepper?
Of course, with a hot pepper on the side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who else? I'm sorry.
Bronzeville hoagie. I can't believe it's not meat. Oh gosh, so many food vendors. I'm just excited. I'm getting hungry thinking.
Yeah, we got to go back to that car because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that may be a huge draw for a lot of people. Anyone watching right now, how can they be part of this? Are you looking for a certain person to give the car to? Do they have to like do something?
Raffle.
Have a
write
valid
something?
driver's license. Go to www.englewoodmusicfest.com.
And just put your name in the drawing.
Put your name and your driver's license number.
And so
Sure,
it's
make
like
sure you
it's
have
like a
driver's
random draw. It's a random drawing.
Yes.
So it's going to be a lucky winner. When does the winner get announced?
They will be announced on September 13th at the Englewood Music Festival.
Oh.
And so do they? And so then what happens? They get the car. Can you give? I know you don't want to give it away because you may start getting everybody on the website. Are we talking a new car? Are we talking an SUV? Are we talking a two-seater with a top down?
We're talking a 2024
vehicle.
Yes.
That's all you're gonna say.
Yes.
I had to stop her. And she's gonna tell it all.
So okay. It's going to be unveiled there.
There it is. It's covered up.
That's right. That's right.
Man.
Wow.
But do you guys have a contest every year like this, or is this kind of a first?
This is a first, thanks to ENR Towing. We're so grateful for a partnership.
What made you do it this year? What made you decide to go this big? Because this is big. I've never seen a music festival do something like this. What made you go this big?
You know what, Tia? Englewood, we get a bad rep sometimes, you know, and when we look at public safety and crime. And this has been not only a labor of love, but a labor of this is what my community really is. It's not guns and gangs and shootings and homicides. If something happens on 63rd and King Drive, it's Englewood, and it's not. So every year I'm intentional about changing the narrative of my community, and we're going bigger and better every year.
How big? What kind of a turnout are you expecting?
It was big last year.
Yeah. Is there a crowd estimate?
Year 1, we started out with 2,000 people. We were still in the pandemic.
That's still pretty big, especially
2,000.
pandemic. Yeah.
Last year, we were at 14,000 for our 4th year.
I'm telling you, it was
Really?
like people everywhere. Yeah, it was huge. And really talk about this because I think when people hear Englewood, they think, oh, that's everybody from Englewood. But you pull people from suburbs, from all over.
Because Englewood is home. Englewood is the heartbeat of the city of Chicago. So I want everyone to come back home. Because no matter where you're from, West Side, South Side, Southland, everyone knows someone in Englewood.
That's true.
And I want to exemplify that excellence.
Or have grown up there. Right?
Yes.
There's a lot of people in Chicago that have maybe moved on to other places, but they grew up there. I know you mentioned this, and I'm not going to harp on this long, but you mentioned crime. We've had a lot of conversation about crime, the National Guard. I'm not putting you on the spot when it comes to that. But when we talk about crime, you mentioned that a lot of people try to hang it up on Englewood. Have you seen crime go down in the community of Englewood?
Oh, Englewood has definitely decreased, and it doesn't help that our superintendent is a son of Englewood, Larry Snelling, and we've been very intentional because 7th and 11th District are always at the highest of crime, and I'm just glad to report that the 7th District, Englewood, we're doing very well.
What do you hinge that on? Do you think that that has something to do with your community partners? There's a lot of these organizations that are crime prevention. They hit the ground every day. They're not making the news for all of their amazing work, but they exist. Is that part of this, you think, of keeping that crime down?
I credit the leadership of Superintendent Snelling. He actually knows, unlike his predecessor, who did not know Chicago, Larry Snelling knows Chicago. He knows where the hot spots are and being intentional. I just saw the other day, actually riding here, that bikers, officers on bikes, riding down Damon and riding down Racine. That's something that we've never experienced in Englewood, but I know it came from the top.
Yeah.
14,000 people there last year.
You went right back to that music.
I'm curious because this is related though. Of that crowd, how much do you think are residents of your ward, people from Englewood, and what would be your message to people like Tia alluded to? You know, folks who haven't ventured down that way, they're from other parts of the city. How do you view the makeup of that crowd, and what would be your message to folks who might be from another part of the city in terms of welcoming them down to your ward?
Certainly the bulk of the crowd, I would say at least over half, is truly Englewood bred and still reside in Englewood or grew up in Englewood. And my message is to come back home, invest in community. The Englewood is a land of opportunity, and I want to make sure that Black people come back home and that we reinvest and repopulate our community.
I want to say this too, because I think sometimes people hear Englewood or like, you know, a certain point past on the Dan Ryan, people are like, I'm not going that way. I don't live in your community, but I went last year. And I will say this for people that are watching, because I know sometimes these communities, people do think, oh my God, I can't go there, I'll be shot. It was so chill. It was so peaceful. There was police. You didn't feel unsafe. And so I think, you know, sometimes we got to venture out of our own minds and, you know, stop putting these stereotypes on different communities in Chicago, because it does exist. I mean, we can act like it doesn't, but it does. People that live on the north side typically don't go a certain point, you know, past the Dan Ryan. And so I do think it's time for us to open our minds. One other question I have for you. A lot of these music festivals that we see, they're charging people to get in.
Oh, yeah.
Is this free?
Totally free. F-R-E-E.
Love it.
No excuses.
No excuses.
Good to see you. This is overdue. This is wild. This is her first time in person
and I
at Fox 32 because it was pandemic.
It was pandemic. I was elected right 8 months before global pandemic.
Back more.
Yeah.
Come back more.
Like sunshine on a cloudy day in that
The
blue
team
yellow.
here, they're just wonderful, as you can tell, wonderful people.
Wonderful people, for sure. And you're a wonderful person.
We used to see each other way more often. This is kind of a reunion for
Yeah, it
us.
is. We're having a good time today.
Yeah. But
It's good to see you.
That's like Englewood Music Fest. It really is a family reunion. We've reunited folks that went to prom back in the 80s. The school teachers, it's
rekindling old flames.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I ain't gonna say that. But well, not for me. I was there with my husband. When I was there, I did see people that were like, hey, remember me? I went to school with you when? And it was really like, it was a really good time.
It was a homecoming.
Very nostalgic.
All right, that's the message. Come home to Englewood, everybody.
Yeah, September 13th. And what time does it start?
12 noon.
And what time does it end?
8 p.m.
Noon to 9, absolutely free.
Noon to
Harold's
8.
Chicken.
Noon to 9, noon to 9, noon to 8.
Oh, okay.
Get the facts right.
Okay.
Stick with me.
You know, we got
Fourth and Hall, sit in the baseball field, wide open, a whole lot of space. It was a good time.
EnglewoodMusicFest.com. All right, thanks to Alderwoman Coleman. And we're going to take a quick break, but coming up, we are going to speak with representatives from the American Writers Museum's new American Prophets Program series. We're going to learn all about that in just a moment. Stay with us.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, welcome back. You're still sticking with Chicago Now?
Yes, I am.
We have
stuck with me for the whole hour.
I know it's been a really good time, and now we have two very important guests.
Yes, from the American Writers Museum, which has a new exhibit and program that explores the influence of religion and spirituality on American history. This thing is called American Prophets, Writers, Religion, and Culture. And we are joined by Carrie Cranston, the president of the museum, and best-selling author R.O. Kwon to talk about this new exhibit. we appreciate you both being here.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
For
for having
folks,
us.
let's start with Carrie, though. For those who are unfamiliar with the American Writers Museum, what is it and where can we find it?
You can find it directly across the street from your studio. We are at 180 North Michigan on the second floor. The museum opened in 2017. It's an interactive and engaging space that celebrates all of American writing from the past to the present and really looks at its influence on our history and culture. And American Prophets is our upcoming special exhibit that'll open in November that looks specifically at the theme of religion and spirituality in American writing and its influence on our culture. And it has a program series that goes along with it, which started back in April, where we brought in best-selling authors in science fiction to talk about religion and science fiction. We had a big program with Peter Sagal of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and a group of comedians talking about that. And every month going forward, we're going to have more and more. And tonight, we have a great program and workshop with R.O. Kwan.
R.O. Kwan, we are so happy that you're here. Let's talk about that. You have 2 books with you right now. How many books have you written?
I've written 2 novels, Exhibit and The Incendiaries, and yeah, those are my 2 books.
You're leading a workshop, is it tonight?
Yes.
Okay, what is your workshop? Yes.
So for the workshop, we're going to, it's based around religion and writing and religion, and so it's for people who want to, all kinds of, if they're writing, if they're walking toward religion, if they're walking within a tradition, if they're walking away from religion, any sort of relationship that people might have with religion. We're going to work together and people are going to write.
Let me ask you this. What made you delve into that? Did you have a personal story, a personal experience that led you down this path?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up very Christian. I grew up so Christian that the shorthand I used to give was that I wanted to be a pastor. But that wasn't actually, it wasn't accurate. It's a far too easygoing version of what I wanted. I wanted to be a saint. I wanted to walk through fire. I wanted to see the face of God and live. I wanted to live in a cave as an isolated mystic. I just wanted to devote my life to the Lord. And then right before college, I lost that faith, and it was and is the pivotal loss of my life. And in some ways, it's always what I'm writing about.
Interesting. Have you gravitated back toward any kind of organized religion, or is it still a journey for you?
No, I haven't. I haven't gravitated toward organized religion. I have so much respect for people who do, but it's...
These are works of fiction here.
Yes, they're novels.
Carrie, when I think of like an American religious author, you know, my mind goes to like a Thomas Merton. In the footage there, are there other, is it other fiction writers, or are we talking?
We are looking at the concept of writing a religion, especially in places where people don't always think about it. So as I mentioned, we've done panel discussions on comedy and writing. So people don't think about the movie Groundhog Day as an overly religious or spiritual film, but when it came out, a number of religious groups, especially Buddhists, saw the underpinnings of their faith in that film. They saw the reflection of a life lived over and over, building toward a better life, which, you know, as we think about reincarnation and other belief systems, these are things that are often reflected in film. Harold Ramis, who we famously know as a Chicagoan, wrote that film and was Jewish as he was brought up, but actually was a very big fan of Buddhism and called himself Buddhish, and used to give friends a threefold pamphlet on the general tenets of Buddhism. So a lot of writers are influenced by their religion or their belief systems, and a lot of Americans get their understandings of belief from writers. So we call them our American prophets, because very often we might discover something like, if someone my age learned more about Islam from the autobiography of Malcolm X than anything I had ever been exposed to in my life. So it is from other writers that we come to understand the plurality of this world that we live in.
Well, Carrie and R.O., I first think of, you know, what's been going on in our country when it comes to a lot of books that maybe we all read as children. There's been attacks from different religious groups about some of these books that we read, and we didn't see a problem with them as children. What do you make of that, and how does maybe what you're doing this time around in November plays into any of that?
Well, I mean, as an institution, we're obviously an institution that celebrates writing, and we are very adamantly against censorship, and we're very adamantly pro-writer, and we want voices to be heard. So we do feel that we want this exhibit to be something where there are a number of different points of view, a number of different feelings about the topic, and we want people to engage in discussion. And so you can't engage in discussion if you repress or take away people's voice.
I 1,000% agree with that. R.O., your most recent best-selling novel, you brought it along with us. If you could maybe show it to camera, the middle camera here. It's called Exhibit. It was an editor's choice with the New York Times. Can you run us through a little bit about what this book is about and what inspired it?
Sure. There's a woman, photographer at the center of the novel, and she's an artist, and she also experienced a tremendous loss of faith that has affected her life and has informed her work. At the start of her novel, she and her husband, who've been together for a while, realized they'd agreed before they got married that they weren't going to have children. And then he wakes up one day and realizes, oh dear God, I do want children. And so I'm fascinated with my work in general and in this book with what happens when people believe fundamentally different things about the world. What happens when people want fundamentally different things for their lives, when compromise isn't possible? How do we live with and through that kind of division?
Oh my gosh, holding those opposites at the same time. I don't know, Tia, have you ever known a couple where they're clicking on all cylinders, but they're either engaged or recently married, and now there's a big disagreement like that where it's literally a fundamental different worldview?
Yeah, and especially when it comes up to, I think, religion, it's always a sensitive topic with people anyway. So I find it very interesting that you're even doing this, because that is one of those topics that some people kind of shy away from. Are you working on any new writings right now?
I am. I've been working for 2 years on a novel that's centered around an art heist of historically significant Korean antiques and art. So I've been doing a lot of research.
I read The Goldfinch.
Oh yes.
Which, I mean, that wasn't a heist, was it? Or
there was a theft. There was
I would recommend that one too. That is super cool. Carrie, let me ask you this: what additional programs are coming to the American Prophets series? What other exhibitions? You've got RO in-house tonight. Is this going to be kind of a nightly thing or a weekly thing where you have a workshop?
Workshops are going to happen. There will be multiple of them. We're doing them in partnership with Story Studio. So people can find about all our programs on our website, AmericanWritersMuseum.org, and look up the program section. But the coming up, we have a really great program with an author on James Baldwin and the idea of queer religion and his life. And then in the fall, in October, we have a really great program which we'll be doing down at the University of Chicago on horror writing and religion and how those overlap with the Divinity School at the University of Chicago. So we have a lot of really fun and interesting programs upcoming, and I encourage people to look online and find out more about them all.
Very interesting.
That's fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Horror series down at the Divinity School. Wow. I
want to go back to something you said, R.O. You said 2 years you've been working on that. During that time, because somebody may be watching and maybe they never met an author before. They don't know really what goes into the background.
Right. Bestsellers.
When you say 2 years, what are you doing during that time to really bring that piece of, because I consider it art, that art to life?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that. So my first novel, The Incendiaries, it took 10 years. Wow. This one took 8 years. I'm really hoping I'm on a downward slope. And then this next one maybe 6 years is my hope.
Yeah.
But I draft and draft and draft. The Incendiaries went through somewhere between 70 and 100. I have no idea. This one, 50 and 80 drafts. And so I'm trying to work toward, I want to get to a place where I can open the book at random and not want to change anything. And so that seems to take me a while.
I wonder if any author has ever gotten to that. They open it, don't want to change a thing. Carrie, these workshops, are they the target audience here? Is it strictly for aspiring writers or existing writers? What would you say?
Oh no, I think when we're talking about the workshops that we're doing with Story Studio, it can be anyone with a glimmer of an idea that they might want to write, to people who are well known or have been writing for a while but really want to take their writing to the next level. So it's very open-ended because we're bringing in writers who have the capacity to really work with the audience and try and engage them in the topic. And if they're not familiar with Story Studio here in Chicago Story Studio, I would encourage people to look them up as well. Now, RO has taught there. A number of great writers teach there. Rebecca Mackay is one of their main writers in residence and one of the creators of it. And it is a wonderful organization for people who have any interest in becoming a writer.
Perfect. RO, anyone that's watching right now, I know, Carrie, you gave the website, but for you, where can people find out about your next works? Where can they go buy your books?
Oh, sure. The book is available at any number of independent bookstores in Chicago, and I'm on Instagram and Blue Sky and my website ro-kwan.
All right.
Well, I got one more
ahead.
really random question before we, because I think we have till 11:57, so we got a couple seconds. AI, okay, this generative AI. I'm just wondering, how do you each see that changing the landscape here? You know, you were saying one took you 10 years, one took you 8 years. Well, maybe we'll start with RO. How are authors is AI a shortcut? Is it a tool? How do you see it playing into the whole landscape in the coming years?
Well, I think for me, first, a primary consideration is that these language models, they took specifically our books without paying us for them, and they digested them, and it's an ongoing battle that they say that they can't pay us because it would bankrupt them, and then it becomes, well, so you stole what you needed from us.
It's art, like Tia said. It's art.
And you know, I just don't think humans are replaceable. I think that's one of the lessons of literature. It's one of the lessons of love, right? Every single person who I love, who I have lost, they have not been replaceable. We are singular in this world, each one of us. And I think that's part of what's so beautiful about literature and in love. And I don't think AI can replace that.
So a bit of a threat in your mind, then?
It's
I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I don't consider it, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't consider it a threat to what I do and to my writer friends do. I do consider it very much a threat to the world and its environmental impact and the ways in which it looks as though it's going to be replacing a lot of jobs.